Risk-based approach to AML compliance is a crucial aspect of compliance procedures and controls in anti-money laundering, AML. In order to effectively combat money laundering and terrorist financing, financial institutions and designated non-financial businesses and professions, DNFBPS, need to adopt a risk-based approach. This approach involves assessing and mitigating the risks associated with money laundering and terrorist financing, based on the unique characteristics and circumstances of each customer and transaction. Understanding the risk-based approach. The risk-based approach is a method that allows organizations to allocate their resources and focus their efforts on the areas that present the highest risk. In the context of AML compliance, it involves the identification, assessment, and management of risks associated with money laundering and terrorist financing. By assessing the risks, organizations can tailor their compliance efforts to allocate resources effectively and mitigate the risks to a reasonable level. Risk assessment. The first step in implementing a risk-based approach is conducting a risk assessment. This involves identifying and assessing the inherent risks associated with various factors, such as the customer, country, product, service, and delivery channel. The risk assessment should consider both quantitative factors, such as financial transactions, as well as qualitative factors, such as the customer's reputation or the characteristics of the product or service. Risk classification. Once the risks have been assessed, they can be classified into low, medium, or high-risk categories based on their likelihood and potential impact. This classification will guide the organization in determining the level of due diligence and monitoring that should be applied to each category. High-risk customers, countries, products, customers, or delivery channels will require enhanced due diligence measures. Risk mitigation measures. To mitigate the identified risks, organizations should implement appropriate risk mitigation measures. This may include implementing robust customer due diligence (CDD) procedures, which involve verifying the identity of customers and assessing the purpose and intended nature of the business relationship. Enhanced due diligence (EDD) measures should be applied to higher-risk customers, requiring additional information and checks. Ongoing monitoring is an essential component of the risk-based approach. It involves the continuous review of customer transactions, behavior, and risk profile to detect any suspicious activities. Monitoring systems should be designed to flag transactions that are inconsistent with a customer's profile, as well as to identify changes in risk ratings that may require a reassessment. Risk-based reporting. Organizations should implement systems and processes to facilitate the reporting of suspicious transactions to the relevant authorities. These reports should be risk-based and focus on transactions that are most likely to be associated with money laundering or terrorist financing. Risk assessments should also inform the timing and frequency of reporting, ensuring that reports are submitted promptly without overwhelming authorities with unnecessary reports. Regular review and updating. A risk-based approach to AML compliance is not a one-time exercise. It requires regular review and updating to ensure that the risk assessments, risk classifications, and risk mitigation measures remain relevant and effective. Changes in the regulatory environment, customer profiles, or emerging risks should trigger a reassessment of the organization's risk-based approach. In conclusion, adopting a risk-based approach to AML compliance is essential for effectively managing the risks associated with money laundering and terrorist financing. Based on risk assessments, classifying risks, implementing risk mitigation measures, and continuously monitoring and reporting, organizations can enhance their AML compliance efforts and contribute to the global fight against financial crime.